Good morning, and welcome to Daylight with Dean on the road. This is number 105 of Daylight on July 25th, 2020. Now, you may be asking where I am and what this view is, but before that, we have to get our priorities straight. I have to pour my coffee this morning because the brewer here, our coffee maker, puts it in a thermos cup instead of one that stays hot on a hot plate, a regular glass carafe. So I have to keep it in the thermos until I'm ready to drink it, or it gets cold really quick. And I have one of the coolest mugs. It was from a restaurant near Regent Square, and we bring it up to camp because we enjoy it up here. And here is the lovely... Can you smell that? Can you see that aroma coming off? Okay, it's really steam, but I just said it was aroma. Got to get it in my right hand because I'm right-handed. Let's enjoy our first sip of coffee this morning together. Okay, I needed 4 sips. Yowzers, that's good. Whew. So, first things first. Some of you noticed yesterday... Whoops, my camera's about to fall. That's the second time the camera has fallen during daylight. We're on a front deck that's a little wobbly, and my apparatus isn't as steady as I'd like it to be, so sorry you got to enjoy that with me. So yesterday, today I'm up here at our church camp in Emlenton, PA, but yesterday we stayed here and I drove down to New Kensington, drove back home early in the morning so I could be at my gym in Tarentum at 6:30 in the morning. We made it by 6:35, and it was our first traveling roadshow live motion driving. And some of you who pay attention to very intricate details noticed that it looked like I was driving a right-handed driving car where the steering wheel is on the right side of the automobile, like they have in England or other parts of the world, I believe Australia and many other parts of the world that drive on the other side of the road. Notice I didn't say the wrong side of the road. So the reason is because I had to see what I was filming, so I had to film Facebook Live on selfie mode, which reverses the images. So you'll notice on selfie mode, if somebody has a t-shirt that has, you can tell when it's on selfie mode, when somebody's filming, if they have a t-shirt, the lettering will be backwards and that kind of thing. That's because when you hit that button to reverse it so you can see what you're filming from your screen, it reverses the image. So no, that was my 2008 Chevy Tahoe, the XLT version. No, the LTZ version. So you know my 12-year-old Tahoe that I bought from my uncle after a tree fell on it. So I parked it yesterday at R.J. Slater's funeral home. I did a funeral for a parishioner and their family last evening for their brother Denny, who had passed away. And I parked in the parking lot next to R.J. Slater's. He has a white Chevy Suburban, and I have a white Chevy Tahoe. The thing is, his is a 2016 with no tree that had fallen on it. Mine is a 2008. His has 66,000 miles on it. Mine has 151,000 miles on it. And mine has the crushed dented hood and dented fenders. And he's well aware of my smashed roof because when we were repairing the sunroof with plexiglass, we had used a caulking product that I didn't want to get rained on. You remember that famous story from back in late April and early May, and didn't want it to get rained on, so I parked it under his carport. Like, Dean, where are you going with this story? I am going somewhere. So I pulled up and backed up next to his Tahoe, and our cars were next to each other, and his is brand new and mine is all dented up. But he'd never seen it up close, so after the funeral he came out and we were talking about it, and he's like, are you going to get that fixed? And I'm like, well, yeah, eventually. We're looking for a totaled out Tahoe that has the same pearl white color, white on it, so we can get the fenders and the hood without having to paint the whole thing, because that's a really hard color to blend in when you paint. And so he was like, oh, okay. And you could tell, I mean, my car's a 2008 with a smashed hood. His is a 2016. But then he looks down at my running boards, and he notices there are no running boards there. And then he looks up at me and says, does this have the self-lowering running boards? And I opened the door, and the running board just magically appeared. And he was like, oh, I wish I had your car. Now, he didn't say that, but you could just tell by the expression that I looked over and he had the fixed running board that's always there. And I was kind of excited that there was at least one feature of my Chevy Tahoe 2008 LTZ model with the running board that folds down when you open the door. Oh, the things that amuse me. So the reason I wanted to film here is we are at our church camp. It's up in the little borough of Emlenton, right on the Allegheny River that you can see from Interstate 80. Picturesque community that in the early 1900s, because of the oil business that was here in Emlenton and in this area, and the owners of those oil businesses living in Emlenton, it is said that in the early 1900s, Emlenton had more millionaires per capita living in this community than any other community in the world. And that's back when a millionaire meant something. Oh, wait. Being a millionaire would still mean something today. So it's a picturesque, beautiful little community up here. And then about a mile and a half, maybe 2 miles outside of town, up the hill, it's still Emlenton, is our church campground. It was founded in 1891, so it is nearly, next year it'll be 130 years old for the campground here, and it was known my whole life as Whitehall Camp. Now it is officially called Whitehall Camp and Conference Center. And this is a very sacred space for our family. And in, I believe it was 95 or 96, my mother and dad bought a mobile home up here, 14 feet wide by 70 feet long, right at the lower entrance of camp. And they bought this mobile home, and they were so excited about it. And I was just married 5 years. I was transitioning into ministry. I was about to move to Tupelo, Mississippi. I had all this stuff going on, and I didn't quite get the excitement. But my mom knew. My mom knew how sacred a space this campground had been to her when she was a little girl. Her family grew up coming here. I grew up coming here. And she knew as we were having children that they would need a place to stay. We stayed in little pop-up campers and a Winnebago and a 80-year-old camper from the 40s, I think it was, back in the day. And my mom knew how important it was. My parents knew how important it was to have a place up here so that my children could kind of call this home. And so my kids have been coming to youth camp here and family camp week all of their lives. And my oldest daughter got baptized here when she was in, I think, senior high youth camp. And we came up and watched that and got to experience that with her. And it's just a very, very sacred space. My youngest daughter, some of her best friends in the world, she's met up here. My oldest daughter, she got married in the barn up here 3 summers ago. So the fact that I have filmed daylight here from our front porch, it's a very special place to us. And I wanted you just to catch the view that Leslie and I enjoy off our front deck whenever we film daylight, not when we film, whenever we come in the mornings and drink our coffee here. This is the first time filming daylight. There's a magnificent view over the hill down the road about a quarter mile that I was going to film at this morning, and it is on top of a hill and goes down to the valley where the lake is. It's a magnificent view, but I woke up this morning and it was all cloudy. So it didn't make any sense to go to all the work of putting all of this together and not being able to enjoy that view. So hopefully tomorrow morning when I'm here, I will have a clear morning at 6:08. Wait, you're saying that's not sunrise time for New Kensington? That's correct. New Kensington sunrise time is 6:10 this morning. Emlenton sunrise time, according to Google, is 6:08. So tomorrow morning, if it's not cloudy, I'll set up and film from there. It's great to be with you. It's great to have you here. It's great to share this time and this space with you today. I'm so grateful that you've joined in with us. And I just want to ask you, what is your kind of sacred space? I described how my children, especially my oldest and my youngest daughter, find this to be one of the most replenishing places on the planet for them. Place where a lifelong commitment to her husband was made. A place where lifelong friendships have been formed. A place where their relationships with Jesus Christ are spoken into every year at youth camp and then again at camp meeting. And my mother was right. She got it right. She knew. She knew the potential of how important this place could be as I raised my children. So I want to ask you, what sacred space do you engage in? What place is it? What physical place is it that when you get there, you're like, my soul is in a good place? For some of you, it may be inside a church building. A friend of mine who grew up in the church right next door to us said that he loves to go in there before church starts. It's very quiet. And he loves to fold the kneeler down, and he loves to kneel, and he just loves to pray in that quiet space. He says when he's there praying that he feels closer to God than at other places at other times. Perhaps for some of us, it's while we're out in the woods. I was talking to another friend yesterday whose family has a 100-acre campground up north of Grove City, and they have a house up there, a cottage. You never know when somebody says a cottage, if it's a mansion or if it's a cottage. So they have a place up there, and he said that it's so important to his soul to get up there regularly because that's where he thrives. That's where he comes alive. That's where he feels most connected. For some of us, when we're at home, we feel that way. I know, Leslie, during this time at home this spring, the sacred time we had with our 3 children that are still living at home and just being at home together was very, very sweet for us. The reason I'm asking is because we need to have these spaces because they really help us connect with the Lord. Yes, the Lord's presence is with us and available for us to lean into every moment of every day. But sometimes we're blessed to have a place in our life that one famous old passed away writer described it. I don't remember the name, that's why I'm using all these descriptors. Described it as a thin place. That place where earth and heaven are so close, there's hardly any distance between them. Those thin spaces. And this is one of those spaces for our family. My wife loves coming here. She feels very replenished here. And we don't get here often enough. So how about you? Where is your sacred space or spaces where you connect with the Lord easier, more naturally, in a way that replenishes your soul? Because I want to invite you to pay attention to those. Those are important to lean into. They are important to take the time to be in those spaces because we all need our souls replenished. We all need our time with the Lord. We all need to be reminded of simpler days and simpler times and what's truly, truly important. Wow. Well, today's going to be a great day here at Embleton. The yard needs mowed. That's always an adventure. Somehow I can't find the energy to mow my yard in New Kensington, and now I get to drive an hour and a half up to church camp to mow it. After my mom passed away and I was responsible for the yard maintenance up here, I tried to get up as often as I could, but that grass was growing so fast that first summer I couldn't keep up with it. So at the end of the summer, I got a letter that was addressed to Whitehall, to me from Whitehall Camp and Conference Center. And you know how I am with paperwork. I thought it was just a statement or a invoice that gets paid automatically. So I didn't open it until the following spring. Yes, for my paperwork work friends, I know that's about to drive you crazy. I opened it and there was a letter from the campground stating that I had been noted for not mowing my yard because we're at the main entrance on the lower end, and that I was required per my lease agreement to mow it at least once a month. So I'm like, okay, once a month, aha, I can do once a month. So I came up in April and mowed it. No, I didn't. I came up right before Memorial Day and mowed it. And then I came up right before July 4th and mowed it. And now it's July 25th and I'll mow it again. Now I'm wondering if my right before July 4th mowing will count for my June mowing and this will be my July mowing. I don't really think they keep track of it that much, but because it's been so dry, it doesn't look that bad. So I'm mowing the yard up here today. And then we have a relative who, Leslie's cousin, her daughter is having a graduation party, and they live in Franklin, PA, which is just a hop, skip, and a jump from Emlenton, probably a 20-minute drive. So we will be going there for the graduation celebration, graduation party for their daughter, and then we'll we'll be driving back here and get a good night's sleep. And yes, Sunday morning I will film daylight, hopefully on top of the ridge overlooking the lake. And then I'll pack the stuff up, head back to New Kensington, get there by 8 in time to start my watch party for Sunday's message, and then be at the river at 10 for church. So hope that you will consider joining us in person outside on our yard for church on Sunday. And we have plenty of space. It will not be crowded, and it will be a great time. If you're wanting to go to a church physically, would love to invite you to come there if you don't have a church of your own. All right, guys, great to be with you and me this morning. Great to be together. Thank you for being with me, and I would like to just close our time in prayer. Father, I thank you so much for this sacred space that you have leveraged in our lives significantly. I thank you for the way that when we're here at this place, you replenish our souls. You remind us, you remind me of my heritage. I sense the joy and pleasure of my mother's life here